We are talking about a truck that had to travel 8,500 kilometers. But the problem was not only how to make the truck travel that long. Rather, the real problem was that the truck was carrying a huge block of ice that had to be safely transported through Africa's fiery desert. In other words, the truck had to spend 10 whole days in the road where ice and iron become soft. But the challenge was that under no circumstances could the ice melt. And that too without a refrigerator. Welcome to my channel. Viewers, this is 1959 when the world's attention was captured by an ice block. This ice block weighed 3,050 kilograms and had to be transported from one corner of the world to the other, without a refrigerator. Its starting point was Morena in Norway, and its ending point was Libreville, a city in Central Africa. But why was this happening? Why was this ice block being carried so far? Actually, this matter started a year ago in 1958. Luxembourg is a country in Europe, from where a very famous radio station was operated. It was famous all over the world as Broadcast Radio Luxembourg. A unique challenge was held by this radio station for all the listeners, and that challenge was if any man could lift a 3-ton ice block, a very heavy reward will be given to him if he takes it from the Arctic region to Africa. It was decided by Radio Luxembourg that 100,000 francs will be given for each kilogram of ice, which is $16,000 in today's time. $16,000 for each kilogram, i.e. 3 tons of ice block, $48 million, which is a really big amount. But there were some rules in this challenge. The first rule was to carry the ice block in one piece. The second rule was that it would only be transported by road. The third and most difficult rule was that a refrigerator could not be used to complete the challenge. Radio Luxembourg offered such a huge prize because they knew very well that it would be impossible to bring such a large ice block from the Arctic region to Africa under any circumstances, because this is not a short journey, but this journey is 8,500 kilometers long, in which 2,500 kilometers is the desert of Africa, where the temperature is 50 degrees centigrade, the ice that melts in minutes as soon as it comes out of the freezer. How will it reach the destination safely? In this weeks-long journey, Radio Luxembourg gave this challenge, but they had no idea what kind of trouble this challenge would get them into. Until several months after it was broadcast on the radio, no one dared to step forward. But then a man named Birger Natvik announced that he was ready to accept the challenge. Birger Natvik, the managing director of Glassford, an insulation company in Norway, believed that his company, which makes insulation materials, this challenge can easily be met by using it. If Birger Natvik succeeds in meeting this challenge, so he will be able to collect a lot of wealth for his company Glassford and his employees, as one person has accepted Radio Luxembourg's ice block challenge. Natvik has formed a team and set to work to complete the challenge, which led to several newspaper headlines discussing Natvik's attempts to complete the ice block challenge until Radio Luxembourg found out. So they were afraid of losing a huge amount of money, and out of fear they withdrew their offer, because the Glassford company and its directors had become quite famous. That's why even though the offer from Radio Luxembourg was over, Natvik decided to take up the challenge, because it will increase the publicity of their company. It was time to start this challenge. All the way will be sent to Libreville, Gabon in Africa, followed by Denmark, the Netherlands, Belgium, France, Spain and Morocco. The Natvik team included an engineer, 4 drivers, a truck mechanic and 2 cameramen, to be transported through the Algerian desert to Gabon. They decided to cut a 3-ton ice block from the glacier, but it was difficult to lift such a large block of ice at once. That's why the 200 kilograms block was cut and sent down by helicopter to Natvik, and their efforts were getting a lot of media attention. And that's why many companies started sponsoring them to meet this challenge of the network. Shell took charge of the fuel and Scania gave them the truck in which the ice blocks were to be placed, and a single block of 3,050 kilograms was made. This block was put in a special container and loaded in a truck, the sides of which were insulated with a special glass wool. After a thorough insulation, on the 22nd of February 1959, this unique journey finally began, because the weather in these areas was also quite pleasant and the roads were also in good shape, because this news had spread all over the world. That's why these trucks and their cars passed through any big city. The people there welcomed him and cheered him on as his journey progressed and his publicity increased. When the truck was passing through Paris, the police there gave them special protocol to pass through congested areas, and even the mayor of Paris invited crew. A week into the journey, the truck was lifted onto a ship by a crane as it had to cross a large stretch of ocean. On reaching the other side of the sea, the conditions were completely different. The truck had now reached the land of Africa, where the heat during the daytime was very intense. Not only was the ice block at risk of melting, traveling on the hot sand also threatened the truck's engine and the crew's ill health. In addition to all these dangers, the truck was also a security threat because there was a war going on in the area, through which the people were passing and the freedom fighters were hiding in the mountains. They could even take the truck and its crew as hostages to get their point across. To counter this threat, the French Foreign Legion provided security for the truck and its crew in some areas of desert, and give them special instructions that they have to pass through this desert with minimum stops. But because there were no proper roads in this desert, the truck used to get stuck in the sand again and again. The faster they were to reach their destination, the more difficulties they faced. Every time the truck got stuck, it took the crew hours to get it out of the sand. The mission of transporting the world's most expensive ice block is now up to them. On the one hand, there was fear of freedom fighters. On the other hand, the heat had worsened the condition of the crew and the heat had started melting the ice blocks inside the truck. If the crew gets stuck here, neither their mission nor the ice extracted from thousands of miles away will be saved. He also fed the animals of travelers passing through desert with melted snow water, which was actually the most expensive water in the world. He spent many nights lying on the sand, lying on his back, and gradually faced the difficulties and proceeded towards the destination. At last they succeeded in leaving the desert behind, and now their destination was much nearer. After a full 28 days of travel, the truck, crew and the remaining ice block had managed to reach Libreville. How much ice is left in the container after 28 days of travel and the most difficult conditions? Surprisingly, when the container of the truck was open, so it was hard to believe seeing them inside. The ice block weighed 3,050 kilograms when it left Norway, but after the most difficult journey of 28 days, amazingly, the ice block weighed 2,714 kilograms. Only 11% of the icy, only 336 kilograms of ice had melted en route, and the rest of the ice block was in one piece. Of course, Radio Luxembourg backed out of their offer, but the challenge was still a complete success, and this snow was broken and distributed to the people of Gabon, who had never seen snow before. Natvik and his company received no cash reward at that time, but the publicity boosted his company's sales. Glassworks still makes insulation material called Glowa today, and since 1959, his popularity is increasing. Hope you will like and share this video of Infrasian. Thank you very much for your kind. See you in the next video.